God bless you. Good day to you. Today we want to look at God's word and God's vision. And this is what I saw. There is a track of God in the midst of the turbulence of the world. And if you take the world as God's globe, the track for the Christian is a clear track to run the race, keep the faith, complete the course, fight the good fight of faith, as Paul says. That track is very clear. And more Christians run that track, their race of faith. On your mark, get set, go, and breast the tape with singleness of mind, and forgetting that which is behind, pressing on for the mark of the prize of the high calling in Christ. That is Philippians 3:12-14. Then the world turns by the influence of such runners. Then there's another track. The world's track of unrighteousness, wickedness, iniquity, offense, deception, iniquity. That is a jarring track. And if we run less, if we don't give momentum, globe and the spiritual space is sensitive to spirituality. So if we give our strength of God, it'll turn the right way. Your sphere of influence, not only the globe, your sphere of influence, your profession, your vocation, your workplace, your work field, your family line, your oikos, your neighborhood, your city, your nation. And we know the Queen Mary of Scots said, I fear John Knox on his knees praying, that one man, more than many armies, many Protestant armies. Yes, that is true. One man praying through. Then when the world's track tries to turn the globe the other way around with all the evil that goes on. But the heartening thing was the track for the Christian was very clear. So the world's, and he has no obstruction there. It's a clear track. On your mark, get set, and he runs his course, keeps his faith. And we are going to look at it from Isaiah 35 also. And we remember Hebrews 12, look unto Jesus, the author and the perfecter of his faith, of our faith. So we don't have to be ensnared, we don't have to carry unnecessary weights. We are God's athlete, just like Eric Liddell. When he won that Olympic run, after he had fallen once, he took courage and he ran, and he says, a wind of God came for him, a wind of God. So his biography is called Chariots of Fire. And people who watched him running after he had fallen down, his favorite event was 400, it was probably 440, measured in yards those days. And they said he didn't run, he flew, as if he was born, airborne, virtually. That's the way a Christian athlete is helped from heaven to run the race, keep the course, fight the good fight of faith, and enter into the crown of righteousness. We will influence our neighborhood. We will influence our oikos. We will win this battle with our Christ. And the world's carnival has almost come to an end, but people will keep the pretense of carnival. The same people who kept people captivated, imprisoned by sex industry, by the consumerist extravaganza, and then the fashion, and then the confectionaries, the cruise ships, the gambling dens, the things that thrived. The same people will now get on to health, to keep prisoners, imprison people, ruining their immunity. So please read, please go for a clip I have done recently. Clip number 90, I have called it Social Armageddon. Clip number 88, I have called it COVID to Armageddon. Please give, look at it, give thought towards it, see what you can gain from it. So these clips are available on my Facebook timeline as well as my YouTube, Dr.Lalith Mendis. So please get onto this. I have a blog, Dr.Lalith Mendis blog. You can get the theory from it. Today we have to get a clear sense of victory, and that the believer's track is not cluttered. There's no obstacle, obstruction. It is just his mindset, his training to get on the track and keep running till Jesus comes. And we create the momentum for a nation to turn Godward. I want to look at 2 Timothy 4. This is Paul's language. I am ready to be poured out as a drink offering, and the time of my departure has come. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the course. I have kept the faith. In future there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have loved his appearing. So I want to get to Isaiah 35. The wilderness and the desert will be glad. So I told you that the world has become a desert with the kind of health manipulations that have gone on, immunity destroyed, particularly in the temperate zone countries, with the flu shot and profligate living. Multiple sexual partners, HPV vaccines were used to destroy the immunity. So immunity is on a setup. It's not in the trained, quiet, adaptive, innate immunity. It has been triggered into being all the time immune aroused, fighting a fight. Because so many pathogens, detrimental proteins and genetically engineered products are entering into man's bloodstream. So immunity is always aroused, and then multiple antibiotics do not allow people to get into immunity. Now why I am speaking on this slide little is my last official post was as head of Department of Pharmacology, so that's my training. Not much of it, but I just want to point out where flu shots were given. People also had COVID cytokine storm. So that's that. So we want to get to God's hope, how the momentum of God's people can turn entirely the globe in the right direction. Sadly, some see that the other wave, the global wave of might is right, survival of the fittest, the same globalists manipulating health now, trying to make a kill out of vaccines, out of remdesivir, and those drugs that don't work for COVID, though the cheap, effective, safe drug hydroxychloroquine is marginalized by fake science and fake information. They are the kingmakers now. Politicians are really often prisoners in the hands of their fake scientists and in the hands of the fake media. That's how it goes. So the fifth estate has become the first estate. The media, they play such a dominating kingmaker role. So that's by the way. But we have a clear track. I was encouraged to see there was an athlete running. I thought it might be Eric Liddell running his Olympics, and the man falls once, but the wind of God then comes and carries him through. Chariots of Fire was his biography, and he ended up as a missionary and a teacher in China. Soon after the war, he became a prisoner of war, and he died in China. But even in China, he was celebrated as a hero teacher who served the Chinese nation at that time. What memories, what runners of the race we have had. And from the grandstand, they are cheering us. So many witnesses, cloud of witnesses. We feel the role models. We hear the cheering. And he is coming soon. So we get to Isaiah 35. The wilderness and the desert will be glad. This is our hope for our nation. Our city will be glad. Why? It will blossom profusely, rejoice with rejoicing, shout of joy, glory, majesty. They will see the glory of the Lord, the majesty of our God. So when the church gets it right, the nation gets it right. Sin is a reproach to any nation, but righteousness exalts. Proverbs 14:34. So who has righteousness? Church has righteousness. God's people have righteousness. So here is the theme, here is the track. God's track encourage the exhausted, and strengthen the feeble. So the exhausted have a place, God's track. Feeble have a place, God's track. They are going to be champions. Don't say, I'm exhausted, I'm internally displaced, I'm a refugee, I'm not so educated, I'm low caste. Whichever country you are, whichever social disadvantage you face, here it is. The track of the Lord for the exhausted to be strengthened, to be encouraged, the feeble to be strengthened. Say to those with anxious hearts, take courage, fear not. Anxious-hearted people, you have a race to run. So let none of this be excuses. Christian, you have a race to run. Behold, your God will come with vengeance, and recompense of God will come. But He will save you. So when God's recompense to us is He will save us from all these situations, exhaustion, feeble, anxious heart, God will come. Turn the eyes of the blind will be opened. Then the eyes of the blind. So we believe this is the best time that those who never wanted to consider Christ, their eyes will be opened. Why? Because they see the feeble, the exhausted, the anxious getting a second lease of life, like the way Eric Liddell fell down and got a second lease to run faster than ever before. Believe this, that the days ahead of you, in spite of COVID, are going to be God days, God blessed days, God prospered days. And the ears of the deaf will be unstopped. So those who never heard the gospel will give ear to the gospel. Then the lame will leap. So those who have been handicapped in different ways will not be handicapped anymore. And the tongue of the mute will shout for those who could not say boo to a goose, those who had no song at all. They were dumb because nobody listened to them. They will start speaking. Children will start speaking. And out of the mouth of babes and sucklings, God will perfect praise. People who are not eloquent, no orators, never trained anywhere, they will start speaking. For waters will break forth in the wilderness, streams in the Arabah, scorched land will become pool. How? A highway will be there, a roadway, and it will be called the highway of holiness. God's people's track. I told you the track that turns the globe will change. Up to now, globe went the wrong way because of merchandise, consumption, and all the profligacy that went on. But now, there's going to be a highway of holiness, and that's going to affect the globe in the right direction. Then no lion will be there, but it will be for him who walks that way. Fools will not wander on it. So even those who have no wisdom, they get wisdom. No lion will be there. That even those who don't have wisdom will get wisdom. They will not go astray. That's the promise. Nor will any vicious bear go up. These will not be found there, but the redeemed will walk there. The ransom of the Lord will return. Come with singing unto Zion, everlasting joy upon their head. Sorrow and sighing will flee away. Now in COVID time, this is hard to believe, but this is the God track that will turn the world. Your city, your people, your neighborhood, your oikos, your workplace, your vocation, your work field, your profession. Believe this, because you are running with the captain of our salvation, who is able to do this. God bless you. God keep you.